Immediately after President Trump sent out his triumphant Truth Social post about the American successful exfiltration of its second fighter jet pilot on Sunday morning, over the night between Saturday and Sunday into Sunday morning, President Trump released a strange tweet. It was a diametric opposite, at least emotionally, psychologically, to the gung ho, triumphant, happy Easter, like victorious Truth Social post that he did, immediately after. Let me read the Truth Social post to you so that you will understand what exactly we're talking about. President Trump said, Tuesday will be power plant day and bridge day, all wrapped up in one in Iran. There will be nothing like it. 3 exclamation marks. Open day is an explicit here, so I can say it. I will have to read it out. Fuckin. You know what that means. Fuckin. Straight. You, again, explicit, foul language. Crazy, then Bastaards. Then, or you will be living in, again, expletive. Hell. Just watch, in all caps, praise be to Allah, according to President Donald J. Trump. Now, the Truth Social post that came before this, it was exhilarating, extremely happy, rallying everybody together. We did well, we got our pilots, blah, blah. Suddenly, boom, the very opposite is down. He is reeking of frustration, he is reeking of anger. Open the streets by fire, by force. Otherwise, I'll blow up your bridges and I'll blow up your power plants. Now, where did this come from? Let me analyze this tweet to you. Let me tell you what exactly this tweet means. When he said Tuesday, what he was referring to was his deadline. His deadline as to when Iran must open the Strait of Hormuz. But this time around, at least in this tweet, he is not threatening a ground war anymore. He is threatening to blow up Iran's power plants and bridges. Remember, he just blew a bridge recently, which is the tallest bridge in the entire Middle East, West Asia. That was under construction in Iran. He blew it up and successfully killed 8 people and wounded 95 people. He said he's going to do more of that. He also threatened to put the entirety of Iran in darkness, blow up all the power plants. And he said he's going to wrap everything up. He's going to do everything in a single day, and that is on Tuesday. Again, he now threatened, if you don't want that, they must open the strait. He used expletives on them, and he said they will be living in yet another expletive. Now, he ended the tweet with praise be to Allah. Praise be to Allah at the exact time of Easter. And you know how evangelically Christian President Trump is. So that shows that he's essentially out of his mind. Why is President Trump this angry? I will explain to you. It is because, you see, a lot of people have been focusing on the military aspect of this war. Iran doing missiles and drones onto the Gulf countries, onto Israel, onto the Strait of Hormuz environment, Israel and America doing a return of that on Iran, on military targets, on civilian targets. That is the part a lot of people are focusing on. But you see, that is not the real war. The real war has nothing to do with guns or bullets or missiles or anything. The real war is economic, and that has to do with the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. In one of my previous videos, I analyzed to you what economic experts have said, the progression the economic experts have said they expect in the, how quickly the economic news will tighten on countries on each of the continents of the world. They said the Asians will be first hit and most hit. After that, the Africans. After that, the Europeans. And after that, America and the Americas itself. Now, each of those continents are starting to solve their problems. They are starting to remove themselves out of the mix of trouble. Do you know what they are doing? They are essentially going country after country. They are forgetting their alliances. Everybody is starting to, at least economically, back away from the Americans. Back away from, should I say, respecting or fearing the choices of the Americans in terms of the alliances they make, at least economic, just so they can desperately get this fuel. We are now seeing Japan open, quiet. We are now starting to see a trickle of Japanese ships leave the Strait of Hormuz through Iran, through the Iranian-controlled Strait of Hormuz, one after the other. That means that they must have been given to the Iranians what the Iranians are asking for, either openly or quietly. Openly, and that is why many of these Asian countries are now starting to announce, we don't know if it's true or not, at least they are now starting to announce that they will not be allowing America to fly over the airspace, or to use their military bases to actually gather military material to go attack Iran. In return, they are probably, we don't know again, but we know that the Iranians are now starting to say, if you want to pay for thoroughfare through the Strait of Hormuz, it is at least, it will cost at least $1 per barrel of whatever you are carrying, and they prefer that the money should be paid in either petro yuan, that is the currency of the Chinese, or in crypto, or even in rubles, the Russian currency, or in Indian rupees, the Indian currency. So each of these Asian countries are starting to do quiet deals with Iran, and poco a poco, little by little, Iran is starting to let them be one after the other, ship after ship. As for the Africans, again, Dangote Refinery is helping a lot. We know that at least in Nigeria and at least along the western coast of West Africa, Dangote Refinery has been helping a lot in taking care of demand, in ensuring there is no scarcity, at least, even if the price is elevated. So the problem is ameliorated to some extent. In the case of Europe, we are starting to see a scenario where European countries are starting to do the unthinkable. When I say unthinkable, they are starting to sidestep their major NATO ally in the guise of the United States of America, and they're starting to do quiet deals with the Iranians. We are now starting to see headlines where countries like France, where countries like Italy, where countries like Spain, and there's some other European countries are now starting to say that they do not want the Americans to use their military bases to organize war against Iran, and they do not want the US of A to fly their military jets, over their airspaces to go attack Iran. In fact, like I said earlier, France did the unprecedented. And what did they do? For the very first time in 20 years, France voted alongside Russia and China in favor of Iran at the United States, at the UN Security Council. Unfathomable, unthinkable, implausible, but France did it. And the very next day, Bloomberg reported that Iran released one ship of France laden with the hydrocarbons on its way through the Iranian-controlled Strait of Hormuz. To essentially, gradually and gradually, the economic exsanguination, the economic noose is starting to tighten, gradually, exclusively around the neck of the United States of America and its staunch-most ally, that is Israel. What do you expect? The prognosis is very bad, especially because the midterm elections are approaching. Remember, November, which will essentially be a referendum for President Trump over this war. That is when the Americans will get to decide, will get to pay President Trump in his own coin as to, do they support the war against Iran or not. Trust me, the polls are looking very bad for President Trump. Very, very bad, if I must say. The midterm elections are approaching. The pain at the pump is rising in America. The prospects are not looking good. America is becoming more and more isolated, not just diplomatically, but now even economically, just because Iran is stubbornly holding on to the Strait of Hormuz. So naturally, President Trump will lash out, and lash out in he will. And how is he lashing out? That is why these expletives are coming. That is why a man of the stature of the President of America is using words that cannot even be pronounced on social media for fear that our accounts will be banned or locked down. That is why he's that desperate. That is why he's that hungry. Now, the ground war option is not looking good again, based on the analysis I've explained. And what he is left with is essentially all of these bombings of power plants and bridges. Unfortunately, that again is not an option. Because for every of such critical infrastructure that he has bombed even in the past, Iran has retaliated, not just on Israel, but also on the 6 GCC countries. So it's a catch-22 scenario. No good options at all. I hope you have learned from this video. And please see you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe, to like, and to comment on this video. Thank you very much.